Welcome to Relate, conversations that explore how resilience and empathy lead to authentic and trustworthy engagements in every corner of our lives. Whether you're figuring out the complexities of romantic and intimate relationships, navigating the changing dynamics of parenting, maintaining decades long friendships, or showing up as a leader in your local community, we're breaking down the frameworks that keep us connected. Hey, it's May. I have thoughts on these things, and today we are looking at a corner of my life that means more to me than anything else on this earth. Today we are talking about the silent protector navigating the hard truths of parenting. If you listen to our pilot episode, you know that I am a single mother to a 17-year-old boy. He is my absolute life. But being a single parent often means carrying a heavy blueprint that your child is not ready to see yet. I want to take you back to the moment that shifted everything for me. My son was just 3 years old. At the time, I was married to a 6'4" blue eyed Caucasian man. One day, my little 3-year old looked up at me with those big, innocent eyes and asked, Mommy, who is my daddy? Because Mark is not my daddy. Look, I have brown skin, he's got white skin. I have brown eyes, he's got blue eyes. He is not my daddy. Who is my daddy? I know. I know. God. When a child is 3, navigating that question is relatively easy. They are so young that you can easily distract them with a toy, a television show, or a change of scenery. You can divert their attention and buy yourself some time. But children don't stay 3 forever. As they grow up, the questions grow with them. And as a parent, you find yourself standing at a massive crossroads between the truth they are asking for and the fierce instinct that you have to protect their emotional and mental well being. My son has never met his biological father, and that was entirely by choice. My choice. The reasons behind that decision involve circumstances that were not happy, not good, and deeply painful. There are circumstances I am still not ready to divulge to the public or even to my son. And it is incredibly hard because you know your child deserves the truth, but you also know that the truth, if delivered too early, can be a destructive force. I have kept this door closed for 17 years for one primary reason. I never ever want my son to look in the mirror and think badly of himself because he was the product of a painful situation. I don't ever want him to carry the blame or feel a single ounce of shame for the environment surrounding his birth. So I made a conscious choice to be his silent protector. I chose to carry the weight of that untold history on my own shoulders until he is old enough to fully understand that it was never ever his fault. He needs to know above all else that he is a beautiful gift from God. He is a blessing and he will always be my greatest blessing and joy. But carrying that silence requires a profound level of internal resilience. It means being the villain in the story sometimes, or accepting the confusion just to keep your child's heart safe. To give you an idea of what that resilience looks like, I have to take you back to the 7 months before he was born. When I was 2 months pregnant, it caused a massive, painful fracture in my family. Because I was protecting the people I love, they did not really know nor understand the entire situation. In this confusing and painful time, I was practically disowned and driven away from my hometown to avoid an embarrassing situation. I let people judge me and cast me out and maybe even think of me as an immoral, sinful woman. I have reasons for not defending myself with the truth because I was scared that the truth might cause harm to the people I love. In an instant, I had to pack up my life, leave a job I absolutely love, walk away from my band whom I love singing with, and hastily leave my family and friends without even saying goodbye. I had to move to a city 8 hours away where absolutely no one knew my name and where I had to start with my career because I needed a job right away. And I can't be choosy. I spent my entire pregnancy completely alone. Yes, alone. In a small room that I rented. Just me and my growing belly. Think about that for a second. When you're pregnant, you have cravings, you have fears, you have doctor appointments. I had no comfort. I had no support system. If I needed something, I had to get it for myself. I remember crying literally every single day. I was so deeply depressed that there were days I couldn't feel my baby moving inside my belly. I would walk to the hospital terrified, only for the doctor to look at me and say, May, you are too depressed right now. This is not good for the baby. Please stop doing this to both of you. But even in that dark, isolated room, crying every day, my son was the reason I took care of myself. He was the reason I kept walking. He gave me an optimistic view of life before he even took his first breath. And then fate stepped in. When my son was finally born, he was born on my dad's exact birthday. It was like a sign from up above. God took care of that chapter and healed everyone with just one calendar entry. It's amazing, actually. But family is not the only circle we navigate. Once you step out into the world as a solo parent, you quickly realize you are navigating the heavy blueprint of societal judgment. Because there's always something. I feel this judgment most sharply when I step into the dating world. The moment you mention you are a single mom, the energy changes. A lot of men look at you and ask, sometimes out loud, sometimes with just their eyes, why? Why are there so many single moms in this world? And I tell them I cannot speak for every single mom out there. Everyone has their own story and they're all entitled to share it or not. But of course, society insists on lumping every single one of us into a single cold statistic. Let's talk about the data for a second because people love to throw numbers at single mothers. They love to quote the statistic that 70% of incarcerated youth come from a single mom households. And look, I am a professional who deals with risk, compliance, and data every day. I know that there are single mothers out there who might not have the best intentions. I know that for some families, those statistics are a tragic reality. But most of us have legitimate reasons for becoming single mothers. Some reasons are even beyond our control. Also, I am not a number. My son is not a number, and we are not part of that statistic. It makes me deeply sad how judgmental society can be. People look at the surface of your life and think they have you figured out without knowing a single thing about the truth. And let me be clear, I do not owe anyone an explanation. Everyone has the right to choose which parts of our lives we want to put in display or what we want to tell anybody about the circumstances of our lives, or we don't. I do understand though that human beings get scared of what they don't understand or know. I understand that when people lack information, they fill in the blanks with prejudice or judgment. Because I understand that, I am not mad at them. I'm just sad. I'm sad that we live in a world where people are so quick to judge the chapter you are on without ever knowing the weight of the book you've had to write. Everybody has a struggle. This one just happens to be mine. And despite what the spreadsheets say, look at the results. My son is an absolute blessing. He's respectful, he's smart, he's handsome, he's athletic, and he loves me so much. Maybe not as much as I love him, but pretty close. Now my son is 17 years old. He is right on the cusp of becoming an adult. And as a parent, the architecture of how we relate has to shift. The time is coming when I will need to let him know the truth. I will need to hand him the blueprint of his story and let him make his own decision about whether he wants to look for his biological father or not. I know God will guide his heart and his mind. It is a terrifying transition, though, for a single mother. When you have spent 17 years shielding your child, the hardest thing to do is lower the shield. But true empathy means recognizing that he is growing into his own man. My job now is to prepare him for that truth and to pray that when the day comes, he understands that every silence, every lonely night, and every boundary I set was done out of fierce, unconditional love for him. And I owe it to him to be a better person every day because he saved my life 17 years ago. How? That's a story for another day. We close today's episode with a question that I want to ask the parents listening. What are you carrying in silence to keep your child safe? And are you giving yourself enough grace and empathy for the burdens you bear alone? Being a parent doesn't mean having a perfect history. It means being willing to go through hell and back to make sure your child knows they are a blessing. Thank you for listening to Relate Conversations. Reach out and share your parenting blueprints with me. Go out there, practice empathy for your journey, build resilience for your kids, and design an authentic engagement today. I'm May, and I'll talk to you on Saturday.